Okay, we have a lot to get through here before the lunch hour on the subject of how to write a profitable sales letter. I believe that the most valuable skill that you can learn in business is how to write a great sales letter. A great sales letter acts as your proxy sales force that goes out there and makes your sales presentation for you to 100 people or 1,000 people or even 1,000,000 people all at once. A sales letter is salesmanship in print. And here's the great thing. You never have to face rejection. No one slams the door in your face. No one hangs up the phone on you and yells at you, tells you to go away. You only really have to deal with people who say yes to your offer. And because of the economics of direct mail, your sales letter can be successful if only 2 out of 100 people say yes to your offer. Or even 1 out of 100 people if you're selling a high profit item. But if you're a salesman going door to door, you couldn't possibly survive if you could only close 1 out of 100 sales. But you can in direct mail because of the economics. So that's really why I think the knowledge of how to write and mail a profitable sales letter is just about the most valuable skill that you can have if you're trying to grow your business. There are 2 basic kinds of sales letters, of marketing letters. There's the letter that tries to get the sale all at once, get it with one pass. And then there are lead generation letters. These letters, the lead generation letter, does not try to make the sale yet. The lead generation letter tries to get people to raise their hand, to express interest, to call your 1-800 number for more information, to get your free special report or your free book or something like that. Something free. That's what lead generation letters do. Lead generation letters are used to sell higher priced products and services. The mass market sales letter, by contrast, aims to close the sale right away. The letter or the package has to do all the work. What we're going to talk about here in this portion of the seminar is the sales letter. Letters that have to make the full-blown sales presentation and close the sale. And we're going to cover lead generation letters and lead generation strategies later. But many of the principles that we're going to cover here also do apply to your lead generation programs. The 2 big differences between sales letters and lead generation letters is that a sales letter package is a far more extensive presentation. A letter, for example, is almost always a lot longer than a lead generation letter. And there are often a lot of enclosures and inserts for the full-blown sales letter and package. Now, there are several reasons for why knowing how to write a great sales letter is just about the most valuable skill you can learn in business. For one thing, a good copywriter is pretty expensive. I charge $5,000 to $10,000, sometimes $15,000 for a direct mail package, depending on how extensive the project is. And plus usually a royalty, perhaps 5% of gross sales that come in from my letters. So a good copywriter doesn't come cheap. But let's say you're not a writer. Let's say writing is just not something you like to do. Then you might outsource it. But even then, you still need the knowledge of what should be in a good sales letter. You need to know the key elements. You need to have a sales letter checklist handy to make sure that all the elements you need are in the sales letter, even if you're not a writer. You'll need to know how to distinguish a good letter from a poor sales letter. So even if you're not planning to write your own sales letters yourself, you need to keep listening, because what you're going to hear here applies to all of your marketing and selling. Plus, there are just a lot of pretend copywriters out there who really haven't done any serious study of direct marketing. You don't want to hire a pretender as one of your marketing copywriters. You want to hire a pro, somebody who's really studied marketing, somebody who's studied the subject. You don't want an amateur or a dilettante piloting your airplane or doing your surgery. You want an expert. If possible, you want to hire the best, if you can afford it. And you certainly don't want to hire a dilettante pretend copywriter to write your sales and marketing letters. And it's not really that writing a sales letter is very difficult. Almost anybody can write a good sales letter if they just know the key elements that should be in there. But most people who try to pass themselves off as a direct mail copywriter have never really even read a book on the subject. They think that if they can string some sentences together and make sense, that's all it really takes. They might in fact be very good writers. But that does not mean that they know even the basics of how to write a successful sales letter. To write a successful sales letter, you don't need so much to know how to write really well. You don't need to study how to write. What you need to study is how to sell. If you haven't studied marketing, if you haven't studied what makes people buy, if you haven't studied the basic human motives that drive people to buy, you should not be writing sales letters. If you don't know how to construct a powerful offer, you shouldn't be writing sales letters and marketing letters because you're going to lose your shirt. It would be a little like diving into the ocean before you can swim. The results won't be good. Because much of what you think would work in marketing really doesn't work. A lot of what works in direct mail marketing and direct marketing generally, and marketing generally, is counterintuitive. The opposite of what you think would work, works. And what you think wouldn't work, works, and what you think would work doesn't work. So a lot of marketing, the test results show that a lot of what works in marketing goes against what you would think. It's counterintuitive. That's why you have to study it. That's why you have to learn what works and what doesn't work. It's just a question of learning it. It doesn't require brilliance. You don't have to be a genius. You just have to learn it. For example, you might think that short sales letters would work better than long letters because people just don't have time, after all, to read an 8-page letter or a 16-page letter or a 32-page letter. But that's wrong. Long letters perform better 90 to 95% of the time. The only way we know that's true is from experience, from the results of our tests. Some of my most successful sales letters have been 16 pages long, even 32 pages long. We never would guess that longer letters, certainly not a 32-page letter, would work better than a short letter. We never would have guessed that on our own. So we find a lot in direct mail marketing and direct marketing that goes against what we would think. Now let me also emphasize this point. Your sales letter does not need to be perfect for it to work. You don't even need to be a good writer. Just write how you naturally speak in everyday life. Write your letter in a casual, friendly style. Write your letter so that it sounds like you would if you were talking with a friend on a street corner in a casual conversation. You don't need to be a great writer to do that. Just be yourself. But what you do need is to understand what are the essential building blocks of making a sale in print. Although, by the way, a lot of the same building blocks are the same for making a sale in person in a one-on-one sales presentation. Remember, all direct mail is, all sales letter writing is salesmanship in print.